This can be a very complex puzzle, and I'm unlikely to just find the solution lying on the floor somewhere. So this will need to get some in-depth analysis. The decision tree of possible moves I can make has quite the breadth and depth to it for a human mind to just brute force it without some kind of strategy. First, though, I need to take stock of what the mechanics are and how I can represent them. I probably should have a deep dive around my brain then for a little while to suss this out. I refuse to try to figure this puzzle out using the puzzle itself. There's no undo button. So, that's just the kind of thing I would expect from a bloodthirsty, sacrificial ancient culture. Or perhaps a very rushed design meeting. There are 22 spaces the salamander can land on. I want a non-artistic and purely functional representation of this concept, so I will opt for a segmented bar. But the salamander can go around, so the last segment can connect to the first. I mean, a circle would work better here, but I don't have a compass for the chalkboard, at least not in this imagination. Do I have a compass? This being my imagination would probably explain why I look like ice cream. Anyway, the implied goal is to light up every step. At least that's the goal I'm going to work off of because it seems the most obvious of what this puzzle expects me to achieve. Now, how do I go about achieving that? Right? Take stock of my moves. Of course, I can represent the moves as more than just easier to read Arabic numerals. I've personally chosen positive values to mean moving right and negative values to mean moving left, although technically the positive values come from the left side and those moves are anti-clockwise. It doesn't matter as long as I'm consistent. I notice that if I total up the number of moves and the number of spaces, they're equal. So there are exactly as many moves as there are spaces. This opens up a good general rule of thumb that can significantly chip away at this large set of possibilities. Although I should probably point out that a small percentage of a lot is still a lot. The voice of the puzzle even hinted at this. Unbroken steps will light your way to the underworld. Looking at the equality here, what this means is that once a step is lit up, no move that is part of any working solution could possibly unlight it and then light it up later. There just aren't enough available moves to do that. So if I'm ever in a situation, such as right here, where every available move unlights something, then I have gone down a wrong set of choices. In my abstraction of puzzle terms, I may hit each square exactly once. In this situation, my last 8 move was bad, and I would have to undo that and potentially undo further if there were no other options. Since I am already in my imagination, I am imagining that I wrote a program to calculate every known possible solution this puzzle could have, and I am imagining this program told me that there are 698,802 solutions. This is a bit cheap given the benefit of hindsight I now have, but I don't care if it's cheating or not. There's a reason my husband never lets me be the one to shuffle a deck of cards anymore. You can only end up with a hand with 10 jokers in it so many times before one wonders if the deck really has that many and why some of the jokers have different designs and back colors. For all I know, after only 3 of the 22 moves, I may have screwed myself over if I get unlucky and make a bad opening. If I want to approach this puzzle by going, oh, I made these moves, no other move I can make work, so let me change my second to last move, exhaust even all the possibilities and go even further, backtracking, similar to what I did with Pennytail of the Seventh Mountain and Jewels of the Oracle, it would be a problem if I make a very bad opening because I could be screwed just 3 moves in. How do I know I didn't screw myself over in the first 3 moves? The answer is I don't. I'm just going to have to guess. Thankfully, there is one other trick I noticed. There are 22 spaces, an even amount of spaces. Only 2 of the 6 moves are odd, and both are 5. If one has only even numbers, then one gets locked out of half of the potential squares, similar to how a bishop is always stuck on the color it starts on in chess, although for completely different reasons. So if I go by 4 on, in this demo, a red-colored square, then I should end up on another. Now I go 8 right and land on another. I go 4 again. Direction does not matter, so I can go 6 in the other direction. I'm always landing on red squares if I keep using even numbers. Even if I loop, But returning to my starting position for clarity, if I was to go by 5, I am moving from shaded to non-shaded regions. The odd numbers are the only ones that can offset the strip of available squares that I'm working with at any one time. Once on the other strip, then even numbers will keep me there too. So why did I choose to color and make these strips? Why did I choose to do these alternating set of, and notice that even numbers are always going to keep me on the same shaded regions if I alternate? Because it allows me to realize another very important early warning system for when I may stumble onto an unwinnable situation. If I use too many evens on a single one of these strips, then I won't have enough spaces available that I could potentially jump to using the 5s. In this example, if almost all the spaces in one colored strip are taken, that leaves pretty much nowhere to go when I need to use my remaining odd numbers on the other strip. Each odd number will have to switch strips, so I must ensure that one strip does not have too many evens, because then there are not enough for the other strip. There's 9 odd numbers and there's 13 that are even. Because I switch strips on each odd number, I know for a fact that one strip will have to have 4 odd numbers and the other will have 5, because I always switch strips with a 5, and I have to use up all 9 of the odds, which means I know that I cannot use more than 6 even numbers, because there's 11 squares per strip, minus the maximum number of odds it can have, which is 5, on any one strip, as otherwise there would be nowhere for the remaining 5s to drop me off of when used on the opposing strip. So if I use more than 6 evens on a single strip, I know I've already lost. The whole don't unlight a space is quite obvious, but this particular inspiration can help stop unwinnable situations a little bit sooner. It won't stop all of them though, unfortunately. The trick would be to use some kind of intuition based on the numbers and the puzzle size to guess which moves will produce a good crop of potential solutions. The more possible solutions that exist for a set of initial moves, the greater the chances I'll stumble into one. Perhaps a good opening move would be 5 5s. That covers alternating spaces and lights up as many spaces as I can that are reasonable distance from each other. And I only have 4 more odd numbers to think about switching strips with. As I said, this is a completely holistic approach. It may be firmly grounded, but I happen to know via the magic of hindsight that starting with -5 and burning out all the clockwise 5s in a 3-move starter, that is not part of any solution ever. I also know, using the benefit of hindsight in programming, that all moves up to 2 that don't have obvious undos, like 8 or -8 for instance, are all potentially valid. Still, my approach does not stop me from using the few, around 14, 3-move starters, ignoring once again obvious failures that unlight a square, that would otherwise never allow a solution. Still, this is the best I've got. Okay, what does this all mean? I know that I could screw myself over only 3 moves in. I know some small ways that I could help myself to get a correct solution, either spacing out 5s, or being aware of the 2 different strips that can only be traversed between each other when you use an odd number. This chalkboard is not... I can't do it with this chalkboard. I can't erase things. I can't work with it. I need something tactile. I need something that I can touch. I can move, some kind of like board game version of this that I can undo when I need to. I think I need to build something. 22 squares in grid paper, numbered 1 through 22 using Dunny numerals, so I don't get confused between the ID of the square and the move number itself. I cut out squares of the same size with easier to read Arabic numerals, either positive or negative. I made a targeting reticle indicating where the lizard is currently. I cut out exactly how many of each move I had, and I placed them in a shaded region on the rest of the paper. The shaded pencil makes it clear the contrast between the squares just so I can see them better. Finally, I don't have to worry about making accidentally a move that I can't make, because I simply won't have the physical square for it. I also made the checkerboard shading on the boxes. In regards to the whole even number stripping thing, I will replace the targeting reticle with the move I use on the square so I can retrace my steps when I'm done. I must remember, however, that the start square is special. It is the only square I move from that is not already lit. Therefore, when I finish this puzzle, I will have 2 moves on that start square and no move on the last square, because there's nowhere else to move once the puzzle is finished. I am at a point where I am at 6 evens on shaded squares. I need to switch the other strip with a -5 now. Thankfully, I can do that. Of course, I made several wrong moves when figuring this out, and I had to roll them back when no more moves were capable of being made without landing on something already lit up. But watching that is boring. We know what we are doing. Let's just get it bloody over with and skip to the end of this. Pretty much I said everything unique I wanted to. Oh, no, wait, I have one more thing to say. The first square is not lit up, technically, despite having a move on it, and I almost forgot that. So I technically can still use a -6 here. In hindsight, I know that there are a good number of possibilities with these starting moves, but I could have started with, say, 4, 8, -5. There are no solutions with those 3 initial starting values. The results are very skewed. Some numbers naturally work better than others. I am sure that with a deeper statistical analysis and a team of analysts and people much smarter than I and possessing of greater available time could figure out why they work at a deeper and more mathematical level. What matters is I had a tactile way of placing around the moves and able to find a solution more easily than messing with the puzzle itself. Okay, I just went really deep into my mind there. It's nice to imagine being back home trying to solve this. Anyway, let's see if my imagination was properly grounded enough in reality to have solved the puzzle. Okay, that worked. I now have a golden lizard. Now, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? It is suspiciously lizard-shaped. And what seems like months ago, I can remember seeing a lizard-shaped indentation on a pedestal. I think it was over here. But wait, what about the crystal? Isn't there supposed to be a crystal gem I'm supposed to get so I can look into that telepathy viewer thingy? Well, this doesn't look lizard-shaped. And putting the golden lizard there does nothing. I think the lizard indentation was somewhere else. It's amazing how distant a few moments ago seems when you jump inside your head for an instant vacation. Wait, I spotted something interesting on the floor. Some kind of mat or paper? I missed it earlier. What's this? This seems like some kind of codex. I think Alex mentioned this in his journal. Some repeating faces, so I presume each face represents some value. Hang on, there are 22 faces, the same number of moves as the puzzle. Some are black and some are red. Probably not referencing a red-black tree, but what is it representing? Positive versus negative cash flow? Are these numbers? Okay, I've seen these before somewhere. In Alex's journal right here. Yes, so all I have to do is look at this journal and hopefully remember the page, because it surely would be annoying to have to thumb through every previous page just to get to the one page I'm interested in, and compare the faces to the numbers. Looks like some faces only ever appear as red, and some only ever appear as black. Looks like faces for 4 and 6 are the odd ones out. Coincidentally, those are the same moves in the puzzle that only appear on one side or the other. Both have movement by 8 and 5 also appearing in this parchment, but only the anti-clockwise left side had 4 and only the clockwise right side had 6. It's almost as if the solution to this puzzle was indeed lying on the fucking floor. No, that can't be what it is. I mean, given how hidden it was, I doubt many people would find it and just knock their heads and end their time-traveling life at this passage to the underworld 11 levels of screw you, never knowing the answer was on the bloody floor. But obviously, this parchment is not a solution. And it certainly is not the 580,590th solution that I calculated. No, of course not. The here and now. I need to not think about potentially wasting my time and brain power on a task with an easier solution lying on the floor. I have a golden lizard. I need to place a golden lizard into a lizard-shaped indentation on a pedestal, and then I am going to hell.
Listen to the echoes of the underworld.
Well, I sure hope those voices are less self-deprecating than the ones in my internal monologue.